Hey everyone, it's Matt Harmon, and I am joined by the wonderful Liz Loza. Today we're doing a fun live stream based off an article that I just published on the site late last night, very late last night, talking about quarterback salaries. Now, Liz, this is something that, you know, because you and I are both very obsessed with football, you will understand.
Mostly football.
Nicely done. We are in the former Mostly Football set right now, so very fitting. You're wearing the shirts. It's a lot of synergy. You know that sometimes when something in the zeitgeist of the NFL, just you get your teeth sunk into it, you get obsessed with it. Well, for me, right now, I'm obsessed with quarterback salaries and just the way that it just inherently
worth, it sounds like more than salary is worth.
Yeah, like because to me,
value.
Yeah, like so I think about it this way, right? Like everybody knows now at this point that the quarterback rookie deal, like good quarterbacks on a rookie deal, is probably the biggest advantage that you can have in the sport, right? Like guys like Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, these objectively good quarterbacks, when they're on that rookie deal, you can do so much to build around them. The Rams are a great example of this. The Bears did it this offseason with Mitchell Trubisky. But these quarterbacks, you know, you eventually have to pay them.
Right.
You eventually have to pay. And it's just the reality of the NFL now, right? If you're a good starting quarterback, you're probably going to get over $25 million per year. It's just like, think Jimmy G got it, Matt Stafford's got it, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, all these guys get it. We'll get to Tom Brady. But so to me, ever since, I will give a shout out here to Kevin Clark from The Ringer, because he wrote a great piece talking about the flip side of that rookie deal. The quarterback who hasn't shown he can be an elevating type of guy, when you pay them that money, it just changes your roster construction forever. The way you build your team is now completely different. And it's almost like a curse. It's like the biggest burden you can carry. So to me, it's like, we all think about these things, but you know what nobody's done is just gone and said, like, this guy's worth it and this guy's not.
Well, this is basically real life DFS.
Exactly.
Right? Or an auction league if you're playing in a season-long auction league. But DFS, I think, would be the most applicable comp, right, to everyday fantasy players or football enthusiasts, because you could start, for instance, in the postseason league, as the teams winnowed down, you could have started Drew Brees, but he was going to cost most of your budget.
Exactly.
You could then take a flyer on Jared Goff, which probably wasn't a good idea.
Trubisky, Nick Foles, some of the cheaper guys.
But that would have allowed you some flexibility at other positions. So I think what you're saying is, are these 32 quarterbacks worth $25+ million?
Right. So today we are going to literally go through and take every quarterback and group them into 3 categories.
90 minutes, folks!
Are they worth it? Are they not worth it? Or are they on the bubble? Do we still need to see a little more from them? And there are several guys out there like that. And look, I already wrote the article. It's on yahoosports.com. You can see my opinion, but I wanted to bring Liz on because I respect Liz's opinion, and I want to see if she agrees with me. I want to see if she can change my opinion on some of these guys, and we're just going to go back and forth with it. And you guys in the chat can I already see somebody asking, is Joe Flacco elite enough to deserve that contract? LOL, very current reference, and we're definitely going to talk Joe Flacco. So let's get started right now. And here's how we're going to do this, folks. We're going to actually have our quarterback heads here, and we're joined. Yeah, Andrew Luck. Look at that.
Pre-production. Look at this.
Look at that. We've got Andrew Luck here, and so let's start off with Luck. I think this one is pretty easy. Luck comes back from missing the 2017 season. He has his career best passer rating this year behind a great offensive line. To me, I think he's clearly in the worth it category.
So with Andrew Luck, I think yes. But before we finish the rest of this exercise, I do have a couple of questions, because so much of this is dependent, like we saw with Jared Goff, on scheme, coaching, pieces around you, age. Is this an age agnostic exercise? Is this a durability agnostic exercise? And I mean, I think we can all agree that Andrew Luck is a talent that elevates all the pieces around him, regardless of who is holding the clipboard. Whether he does that to the extent of his potential or ability is another question, but he can still win more games than he loses, regardless of who's calling the plays.
Totally. So to double on some of those questions there, yeah, I do think we can go age agnostic here, because for me, if I'm trying to win a championship this year or the next 2 years, I don't really care if my quarterback is 37 or 40 years old, whatever. Now, we obviously can take into where they are at this point in their career. If they've already started to show that decline, you know, I'm not trying to pay Brett Favre at 42 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
but you might pay him. So all of these are one-year deals. Let's say, like
right,
$25 million for this year.
Right. We're signing him to that big money quarterback position. I mean, the Saints just did this with Breeze last year, right? They gave him a 2-year deal, over $25 million, or just at $25 million, and basically said, let's go try to win the ship. And that's kind of what we're doing here. I do think, obviously, of course, that's kind of the whole point of this exercise, right? Like the scheme and the talent around him. Is this guy enough to take the hit that you're going to inevitably have to take if you're paying this quarterback, you know, a big chunk of your salary cap? That's going to hamper your ability to build up the line. It's going to hamper your ability to put together a skill position group. So to me, Luck is the epitome of the guy that, yeah, if you maximize the talent around him, then you can become one of the elite teams.
Sure.
But if you are, you know, you're slumping in that regard, I think he can lift you up.
Yeah, he'll get you better than 8 and 8.
For sure.
Okay.
Exactly. So Luck goes right away into our
worth it
category. And I'm excited. We've already got our first quarterback
so
head
you're
on the
going
board, and he
behind
hasn't fallen off the wall. So let's go for our second quarterback. And speaking of age agnostic, Phillip Rivers.
Oh.
Phillip Rivers of the sort of local LA Chargers.
He still lives in San Diego.
Have you seen his commuting bus?
Yeah, he watches film on it the whole time. He like grinds tape on his Mercedes minivan,
which is
basically.
Nice. I made a joke about that on Twitter. Like, what do you think Phillip Rivers, like, what podcast is he listening to as he's driving up from San Diego? And then the entire Twitter sphere let me know that, oh, he has this big film watching bus. I'm like, man, I should really be current on these refs. But, you know, whatever. I guess I'm not paying attention to quarterback buses. But Phillip Rivers, to me, also a guy that I grouped into the worth it category.
So I would say worth it, even though he's aging. We have seen him perform and be one of the most durable quarterbacks in the league, regardless of his age, and regardless of the fact that he hasn't had a healthy or effective offensive line for at least a long period of recent time. So I would say, yes, he is worth it. I'm not signing him to like a 5-year deal, but I could extend him, yes.
Yeah, totally. And Rivers, to me, yeah, he's a guy that's thrived across multiple systems, multiple coaching staffs, multiple supporting casts. He takes the Chargers to another level. And so, yeah, to me, another guy that is worth it.
Hashtag team leader. All right.
Give Loza Flacco's salary. Someone wants to give you.
I mean, I will take Flacco's salary and also move to Denver, live in a mansion, and never work again. So
like what Brad Evans is doing right now, basically.
I didn't say he's not working.
I'm just kidding. Brad is up on that, you know, that
March Madness.
NCAA tourney business.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of questions about Kirk Cousins. That is going to be, I think, our most fascinating discussion. But let's see what quarterback we pull up next, and it's Jameis Winston.
Oh.
Now, Jameis Winston, the Bucs are actually going to be faced with this decision pretty much next year because
that's why they're bringing in all the people they're bringing in because it's all in or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So he's playing on his 5th-year option. He'll be making $20 million this year, but are they going to want to continue that marriage? Like you said, it's a kind of a wait-and-see period this year.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't think you bring in Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich, who's clearly being groomed to be the next Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
If you don't think that their particular expertise will elevate his game and help him get over that hump, I am going to say that right now, for those reasons, I have yet to see Jameis Winston do it, so I'm putting him on the bubble.
You're putting him on the bubble. Interesting, because I said he just wasn't worth it. I don't expect Winston to change. I think this guy has been the same player pretty much since his days at Florida State. Yeah, totally he's got high highs, but the lows are just too much for me. Not to mention, he's not reliable off the field. I know that's kind of getting a little bit into the weeds here.
I hear that part of it, but I also feel like when the highs are high, and I'm probably giving Jameis Winston a little bit extra credit because he was strapped with Dirk Cotter, who I don't have any faith in, and this might be, I don't know. I don't think Dirk Cotter's any good, and I do expect him to get much better with Arians, and that's why I have to see it first. So I hear you on not worth it. He hasn't changed significantly, but I also don't think he's been given the right tools he needs to change, both on and off.
Yeah, I mean, I have so much respect for Arians, and this was one that I actually did kind of go back and forth on.
You can say off the.
I'm going on the bubble with this one. I'm going to agree with you that I think that we could see Winston. Maybe this time next year we're thinking a little bit better about him. I'm not going to totally rule it out. If I had to, like I said, if I had to make this decision today, I woch say he's not worth it, but I'll leave a little bit of an open possibility.
All right, look at him being so kind.
We're open-minded here. C. Reich Moss from Twitch.
Craig
Moss says, okay, legit question. Jared Goff was drafted before McVay. Could McVay wish he had someone who he didn't have to call plays into? He thinks he's on the bubble. I would love to grab Goff's head now.
But we don't know where he is.
I could try to find it. Liz, stall while I try to find Goff's head.
Goff is interesting because if you remember, excuse me, in college, he would be terrific and then horrible, terrific and horrible. Very different game than Jameis Winston, right? But had the same up and down trajectory while he was at Cal. I think that the thing I liked most about Goff while he's been with McVay, at least when you're pointing towards the game against Kansas City, the historic game, was how he didn't seem to get flustered. However, that did not continue. If Todd Gurley wasn't healthy, wasn't being used, whatever the case was, Jared Goff couldn't get past his first read, and that to me is problematic. I'm not quite sold 100% on him, especially when he's staring at cloud shapes in a dome in the Super Bowl. So I also feel like this is let me just hold on because I got stuff to say about Goff.
No, I'll rest a little.
To me, Jared Goff is very much you know what? I'm going to change it. He's not worth it. I'm just going to come right out. I'm going to say not worth it. And here is why. Because as much as I liked Goff, I believe him to be like an early career Tom Brady. System quarterback.
I love this analogy.
Who can't get past his first read, who gets flustered when he's blitzed, dances instead of planting his feet in the pocket. But he's the first overall pick in the 2017 NFL draft. A kid from Cal, starter. He has to drink the Kool-Aid, and I think what Brady did, or what Belichick was able to do to Brady, was say, like, listen, you're a 6th round pick. Look at your body. Like, nobody's expecting you to do anything.
He body shamed him.
He did. Well, Belichick shames in a lot of really manipulative and, quote, successful ways. And so I think he was able to motivate Brady into drinking the Kool-Aid and becoming a football robot. And I am not sure that Goff has that sort of hunger and cojones within himself to do it. So I am going to say not worth it. McVay can coach up any cheaper option, given the question is whether or not, you've made this point before, the Rams have the brevity to walk into the stones.
They have the stones to willingly walk into quarterback wilderness. And
right.
This is, again, just coming back to the top, why I just get so jazzed up talking about this stuff. Because, like, this was, and people are happy with you bringing the heat, by the way, on Twitter, which I'm
a Rams fan, too.
Yeah, right. We're up in your feelings. I'm glad that Craig Moss brought this up. Like, we got right to Goff. Because, look, he's a guy who I think perfectly epitomizes this discussion right now. Because, look, I think that we have seen enough from Goff to say he's clearly good, right? Like you said, I mean, I think he's a good quarterback. I mean, statistically, he's unbelievable. Like, I was looking through just the stats over the last 2 years of all these quarterbacks we're going to talk today, and he's right up there. But think of the Super Bowl. Think of several of the games down the stretch. I mean, he was so limited that, I think Dak Prescott could come in and run this offense just as good as Jared Goff. I think that
everything needs to be just right for Jared Goff to ascend.
Goff has not proven to be a guy who can thrive outside of structure when things break down.
No metal.
At this point, we haven't seen it. However, I have ultimately decided that I'm going to put him on the bubble because I'm going to hold out. And at the end of 2019, I think we will know much more for sure who Jared Goff is. Because, again, clearly good quarterback. But like I was saying up at the top, giving him $30 million, $25 million a year, it would change the Rams roster building completely. They would look so different. So to me, I think that we still need to see more from Goff. I'm going to give him a little. I'm going to give him a little bit more.
Put him on the bubble.
I'm going to put him on the bubble here with Jameis.
I don't know. Sorry.
Hi there.
I
What's
switched.
up? Yeah.
If you have to pay for a binky in order for him to be successful, then I don't think he's worth it. But I understand, and maybe I'm just still a little bit.
So I posted. Here's a
little bit tilted because we didn't win the Super Bowl.
I hear you. And someone from Twitter says Goff has a poster of Matt Ryan in his bedroom.
Like the ultimate.
Like that's who I want to. This is who I want to be. Is Matt Ryan.
Someday I too can wear Banana Republic khakis and be a dad.
This shirt's from Banana Republic, so I feel attacked.
Okay.
But anyway, but the tilting shirt. Shout out to RotoWear out there. Anyways.
When am I going to get, Kenny, when am I going to get my free shirts, by the way? We talked about a little design. Remember that? You and I, let's get back together. Anyway.
Good point. What the hell was I talking about with Goff? Oh, yeah, so I posted a poll on Twitter a while ago and was basically like, how much better is Jared Goff than Andy Dalton? And we'll talk Andy Dalton soon, but the point of that is like basically, do you want to, I don't know, people, and believe me, I got responses all across the spectrum, which is, you know, that's the beauty of Twitter, right? But like, to me, I think that why I say Goff is still definitely better than Dalton. I think he could just make more throws.
Because of his anticipation?
No, I think he's got a better arm. Like just pure arm strength can make like that. The couple throws against New Orleans were some of the best you'll ever see, right? Like to me, that's why I still think.
And he didn't have an A.J. Green bailing him out.
No, I mean Brandon Cooks is not A.J. Green's caliber, you know.
No, that's not his game either. I mean, he's like.
He's a speed guy, yeah.
And after the catch.
So I still think that Goff has a shot to end up here. But I'm worried too, and that's why we did that. He's again the definition of why we did this exercise. Now, I'm gonna save that one.
Who is it? I got excited.
Oh, we just talked. We got Dalton. Okay. We got Andy Dalton. We just talked about Andy Dalton and the red rifle, the red whatever. I don't know. So Dalton to me, I mean we know who he is, right? To me, he's a clear not worth it. And what's funny too, like. He's making $16 million per year, which at the time, like, you know, that was back in 20.
60 million?
No, 16 million per year.
Yeah. I was like, no.
Goff is making more than everybody's salary here combined. Okay. But Dalton, whatever. Who are we talking about? Dalton, Andy Dalton, not Dalton Del Don. Anyways, I've totally lost my train of thought. But Andy Dalton, he's a guy making $16 million per year. Back when they signed him to that deal, people were like, how could you pay Andy Dalton $16 million per year? Now it's like, $16 million for a starting quarterback, that's a bargain. Yeah. But to me, like if I had to sign him to a big top-level quarterback contract, not a chance, right? Like he's a guy who we know who he is. I think.
No, he is a capable starter. I don't think he loses games for you, but then I'm not so sure.
He was just to me, he
beats
always,
bad teams.
Yeah, he's a guy who's proven that when things are right around him, you know, think of the 2015 season, the 2013 season, those are his best statistical years. That's when he had a healthy cast of weapons, a great tight end in Tyler Eifert, an all-time wide receiver in A.J. Green. The line is good. You know, Jay Gruden's cooking up a nice offense. But when things go wrong, Andy is not bailing them out. He is a clear trailer, not a truck quarterback, to steal a Bucky Brooks analogy there. And so to me, he's a guy who's clearly not worth it.
Nope.
Always leave you wanting more. We can keep this one pretty simple for Andy there.
I mean, the Bengals' postseason record of not getting past Saturdays, I think, is the most obvious indication of that. Uh-oh.
We have a sad one. Alex Smith.
Oh.
I mean, Alex Smith, I think Washington is...
Just put him over there. Why do we have to talk about it? I don't, like...
Sorry, Washington. You're banged. Hope you figure it out. I think they're a team that's probably going to add like a Tyrod Taylor level starter this year, because this is the thing with Washington is... They're on the hook for his contract.
Like $40 million, all in. By the time because they also have, I think it's 20 million to, and Colt McCoy's got a couple million coming towards, coming to him as well. So wait, just because I have a series, in addition to Matt's lovely off-season series, I have a 10 most interesting players of the NFL off-season series. I just posted the third installment featuring Nick Foles, a quarterback. I don't know if we're going to talk about him because he's not. We're not. Okay.
But we can talk about him when we bring up a certain team.
Okay. So he is going to be a free agent.
Yes.
Right. This is going to happen.
Unless the Eagles tag and trade him, which seems unlikely.
And also is not. It's against the rules.
Right.
But the Patriots did it, so okay. Anyway.
We know those Patriots always follow the rules.
All of these fans in Washington are like, he's coming here, he's coming here. And I was like, with what money?
Yeah.
You don't have the money, Washington. He's going to be making $25 million a year. He passed on a $20 million deal right now, paid $2 million to basically escape out of it. So he's going to Jacksonville. He wants to go to the Giants. That's all nice and good. I don't know if the Eagles will actually make an intra-division trade.
Yeah.
I think likely Dolphins or probably the Jags, but that remains to be seen.
Right, and our latest Twitch comment they posted, the sad part about the Alex Smith thing was even before he got hurt, he was proving that he was never worth that money anyways that they gave him.
Yeah, it was a bad season for him.
It was a bad season, bad contract.
Well, way to leverage that last year in Kansas City. Your agent deserves more than 10%, big guy.
Good for you, Alex.
Woo!
feel better. We're rooting for you. All right, let's move on. This one, we've got, another one that I feel pretty strongly about. Derek Carr. Derek Carr, to me, is not worth it. I think he's a guy who, look, back in 2016, when they had the best pass-protecting line in the NFL, they had 2 wide receivers who could get open very well in Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper. He was a good quarterback. He was a MVP candidate, some would say. But the last 2 years...
the year he broke his fibula, his leg?
Yes. Him and Marcus Mariota both had the leg situation there at the end of the year. But so, to me, Carr, though, is a guy that this year, when the talent around him decreased, he had his lowest touchdown rate of his entire career. He's a guy who has been bottom 20 in adjusted yards per attempt of the last 2 years. To me, he's an average quarterback. He's not a guy I'm trying to pay $25 million a year and hamper the rest of my roster. Will the Raiders continue to do it? I don't know, but to me,
I don't think so.
Not worth it.
I think they're going to try to move him if they can. I think Gruden wants to just redo his whole. And here's the thing: Gruden is guaranteed $10 million a year, right?
Over 10 years.
He can do whatever he wants to do. He can blow it up this year. They're moving to Vegas, so. Basically, if Gruden doesn't want to deal with this mess, he is not beholden to the job the way that a lot of other NFL coaches are. So he can move him. I think he's going to move him. And moreover, whether it's right or wrong, I would lean towards wrong as a moral human. I don't think the locker room respects Derek Carr. I don't think he is a personality that, similarly to Jared Goff, that inspires leadership and confidence. I don't think people rally around him as much. And so for that reason, and knowing the culture that Gruden is recreating in Oakland, I don't think Carr is a good fit for that franchise. And I just don't think that he is worth these bananas money. And we've not seen him outside of that franchise. So I only have what I have to go on, and I'm going to say not worth it.
Yeah, the reason I think that they hang on to him for one more year is just because
of the availability.
Well, because of the availability, and also because I think Gruden has all that time, as you mentioned. They can afford to be whatever with Carr again this year. They're probably still going to be bad. Maybe they find their future franchise quarterback next year, drop him into a roster that has 3 first-round picks and a lot of money to spend this year. But we would not be. Can they see it if it's all the way over here? Is that on screen? Oh, yeah. Also harder to hang up. Yeah, never mind.
Look at that. Still hanging on.
Carr hanging on to that job. Terrific. Moving on. All right, this one here.
So, because Craig Moss, again, said Carr in Miami for the rebuild. I was thinking the exact same thing, that Carr could go to Miami if he's going to get moved, and we'll see what happens in Oakland. Maybe they start with a young guy that they fall in love with. Drew Lock, I think Haskins is also...
Haskins is another one of the top quarterbacks,
right?
Yes. Someone mentioned him to the Giants, which I like.
Okay. One of those two guys. And so that Gruden can really start the rebuild. But here's the thing I don't know about that. If this organic tanking rumor is true in Miami, then why would they go pay $25 million for a quarterback? So a lot of this is all like whispers, right? We don't know if this is a true rumor, if it's a fair rumor. The source does seem pretty plugged into the franchise and the organization, so we could believe it's true. But I also just don't know if, are you going to get players who have incentives built into their contracts who are trying to pay for their family to organically tank / just lose, stop trying and losing? I don't, that whole...
Let's save the Dolphins talk for when we get to,
the Dolphins?
Ryan Tannehill. Because I got a lot to say on this subject, too.
Okay.
And it's another reason I think
we have 90 minutes.
They're not a player for Nick Foles either, in my opinion, either. But
this is what I wrote in my article, Okay.
Let's bring ourselves to our next quarterback, a rookie, Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson, to me, his rookie season, if you believed in him, you still think he has the upside that you saw in college, where he was, to me, is a good middle-of-the-field passer. I think in the playoffs, they were throwing way too many outside-the-numbers passes. To me, I think they need to make this a more middle-of-the-field based offense. They just didn't really have...
Well, it's a young quarterback's offense, regardless of whether they're a mobile quarterback or a pocket passer.
Exactly, for sure. So to me, I think they can still do a little more to adjust around him. However, if you're a person who didn't like Lamar Jackson coming into the NFL, I think you saw exactly what you
wanted
feared,
to see.
Right?
Right.
So a little bit of what do you want to see out of his rookie year? To me, where did you stand on Lamar coming into the NFL?
I thought he was one of the most, so it kind of stays the same. I thought he was one of the most electric, different sort of quarterbacks, and I appreciate innovation. And so for those reasons, I was a big fan. I think I had him, ranked number 4 among my quarterbacks. But I was worried about his durability, his size, and that is still my concern when I see how many rushing attempts he had while he was under center for Baltimore. So, like, I don't, to me, this guy is worth it right now. I'm going to go with worth it, but that's because we've made the agreement that this is a 1-year deal. Like, I'm not paying, right, like, I'm not extending this guy's contract because I'm not sure he can survive physically.
So you want to go worth it. I would say he's an on-the-bubble guy, but I love your belief in Jackson. Again, I think, you know, he's a guy that to me is I still hold out hope, but I think I'm just too nervous to say he's worth it already. I'm going to go on the bubble.
Okay, go on the bubble. You can go on the bubble.
Yeah, we're going on the bubble with him.
I've only gotten you to switch once.
Well, we've agreed on almost all the others. So.
But these are the ones I'm most interested in, like, because I think.
And I think there will be more. I feel bad for poor Jared if we put Lamar Jackson already worth it, you know.
Well, they're kind of like he is living in the upside down.
Right.
Like they're the inverse of each other.
Their situations could not be more different. All right, I'm going to grab us another quarterback.
Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Okay.
Oh, well.
I thought I tried to peek, but I couldn't peek.
An elder statesman here, Ben Roethlisberger. So, Ben Roethlisberger is...
These photos are not at all flattering, my God.
These are their official headshots, so, I mean, come on. And, look, Ben Roethlisberger, a lot of his teammates are in the news. You know, maybe Antonio Brown saying a little bit too much of an owner's mentality. I kind of get that, by the way. But anyways, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger seems pretty simple to me. He's a guy who is worth it.
Wait, Ben Roethlisberger has too much of an owner's mentality?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Antonio Brown. Did you not see?
Oh, no, I just was clarifying what you said. Okay.
Did I say it confusingly? Who knows what I'm saying anymore at this point. I love that somebody's already saying not worth it on drama alone. I'm with you. But from a quarterback perspective, I think he's pretty clearly worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we didn't even need to talk much there. That's great. Putting Ben there.
Again, for now. For now.
For now.
1 year. He's certainly worth it when they're at home.
Oh, here's a fascinating one, and I want to see if you're able to change my opinion on this one, or if you agree with me. Dak Prescott.
Oh, this one's tough. I knew
this
we were
is
going
a tough. Yeah, this is a tough one. This is one of the hard ones. Look, see, that's why we got to lay up with Ben.
This requires like I have to think back to when I bothered to really watch a lot of Dak Prescott tape, because after a while you're sort of like, I know what's happening here, and they're not really showcasing his skill set in perhaps its full range of options. So that makes it tough. So I will say that I do think Dak Prescott's like a leader in the locker room and all of those things. I do believe him to be intelligent and capable of picking up a playbook. I think he has the unfortunate fortune of existing in Dallas, which is like, I mean, we're going to talk about drama, right? Like, we all know the Steelers need a mom, but my goodness, Dallas needs a great grandmom. Like, it's intense. You know what? I'm gonna. Well, you talk a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
I think I'm leaning towards a certain way.
Okay.
I'm gonna stand over in the direction I'm leaning.
I will tell you that I bounced around. This is one of the ones I bounced around on a lot, and I'll tell you because I like Dak Prescott as a player. I bought in way too hard in 2016. There are some unfortunate Dak Prescott player comparisons of mine out there on the Twitter sphere. I like Dak Prescott a lot. However, I think about over the last 2 years, we've had, football narrative espousers feed us Zeke is the key to Dak's success. Then this year was Amari Cooper was the key to unlocking
But he's making both of them look good. And the O-line. What about the O-line? Oh, the O-line is the key to the whole offense's success, except the O-line hasn't been efficient for the past 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so I'll tell you, because clearly you haven't read the article yet.
I definitely didn't.
It's a long one.
I was busy writing my own.
We get it. You're very, very famous. I said not worth it. After wanting to have him on the bubble, I eventually decided at about 1 a.m. last night to write him up as a not worth it quarterback.
I am actually going to say worth it.
You're going to say worth it?
I'm going to say worth it all the way.
Oh, damn, Liz, you want to pay $25 million a year to Dak Prescott, a guy who I don't think has thrived outside of his own circumstances?
But what has he been given other than...
A bunch of, Michael Gallup. Come on, the guy's a stud.
Michael Gallup did not look that great.
Yeah, you're right.
Cole Beasley's his #1 receiver. He hasn't been given a tight end. In fact, the tight end coach in Dallas has changed hands every single year over the past 3 to 4 years. So there's no security blanket for him coming through. They fired their OC. Jason Garrett can't get his head out of his tuchus. And he's got this running back who isn't always on the field, who isn't always healthy. We haven't seen. So, I mean, if you want to say on the bubble, but I think based on what I've seen in Dak's play, to me, he's worth it.
Well, okay, so I said earlier that I think Dak Prescott could run the Rams offense as good as Jared Goff, but then I feel like we're like, wow, look at Dak Prescott's numbers in the Rams offense, and then we're having the same debate that we're having with Jared Goff. So you say worth it, I say not worth it. Do we compromise and say on the bubble?
Put him on the bubble.
Okay. 'Cause I'll tell you, at one point last night, I had Dak here. At one point, I had him here. Then I had him back here. And then I went here, but we compromised.
I mean, when you look at these heads, this is interesting, though, because when I look back and I'm like, okay, these 3 guys are clearly worth it, am I putting him in the same category? And the answer is kind of yeah.
Really?
Like,
aggressive. I'm almost ready.
He's definitely better than these bros. Like, look at this.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I would put him here.
Yes, right? We need a fourth, like, middle ground. Like, we really want to be almost.
Yeah, that's right.
You're like.
You need the prayer emojis flowing over.
You know how I have my bubble that I live in, my 2-mile radius from my apartment. It's like there are some areas of the bubble that, like, yeah, that's fine. Down there, kind of closer to Venice and Sepulveda, but like downtown Culver City, well, some great places to eat. That's like where I want. That's like where I want to put Dak Prescott. But anyways, we keep him on the bubble. Good compromise. All right, that was really hard. So let's go with an easy one.
Wait, MapQuest Boy had a really interesting thought.
He said Dak is not half bad. It's a run-oriented offense, and he didn't do well at first, but Amari changed his game. He needs to be but again, he needs to be surrounded with good weapons to be successful. It's going to be a lot harder to do if you're going to pay him $25, $30 million a year. Just saying. We'll get to Wentz, I promise you. But I'm giving us a layup here.
All right. On
like
the
Bortles.
Oh, okay, just go.
Yeah.
Go.
By the way, I want to point out one thing.
He's got a tiny head compared to the rest.
Well, he has a tiny head compared to everybody else. Almost like he's a look. Yeah. So
what do you
he's
say?
the only one that got put on cardboard. Everybody else is like on stock paper for whatever reason. Avery, our graphic designer / arts and crafters, threw him on some cardboard. So really disrespectful.
I think she did him first, and then she was like, "That's a lot of work."
Yeah.
He is not
He's
worth
not worth all that work.
It.
He's not worth all that work. And yes, Big Ben worth it. Really, give me a break. That's not hard analysis.
If you strip away the narratives in Pittsburgh, then it does seem as though Big Ben is worth it. He continues to produce, even if he can't get all the way to the end.
By the way, I think Jacksonville is going to land Nick Foles. It seems like the logical spot.
That's what we talked about.
Okay, next one, Cam Newton. Easy, worth it to me. Easy, worth it. I mean, I don't think there are few quarterbacks in the NFL who have proven to thrive outside of their circumstances, outside of structure, and elevate poor supporting cast, poor offensive lines, and thrive outside of bad coaching more than Cam Newton.
There's also not been a quarterback more catered to than Cam Newton.
I totally disagree.
Let's give him 3 skyscrapers because he's not an accurate passer.
Which was a terrible idea.
The problem. Everybody's too slow because they're giants, and giants can't run quick and be agile. So we're gonna make all these speed demons. Except now he doesn't have rapport with them, or he can't hit them in stride because he's not accurate. He's worth it, but also, let's be real about how much everybody has catered. They've given him opportunities on a silver platter, one after the other in terms of scheme.
I'm not going to sit here on this stage
and
let you throw Dave Gettleman talking points out at me. Yeah, that goofball gave us he's missed his high, so let's get tall guys. Let's get 2 of them. That makes a lot of sense.
That's what happened.
And it didn't work because it was a terrible idea. It was a bad idea in hindsight. It was a bad idea then, and then they overcorrect. But I think these guys that they have now much more fit the game he has to have, which is he's a good passer. I think what people forget about
is that he was injured.
Well, yeah, that he was injured, but before the injury, when he clearly fell apart, and then you've got these
Hanky and friends.
these Heineke, I mean these jackals out there that still in 2019 want to tell you that Cam Newton's bad. There are people out there like that.
I'm not saying he's bad.
No. I'm projecting a little bit here.
Okay.
But I think that what they forget before that down moment at the end of the season was that Cam Newton was having his best career year as a passer by far. Statistically, by any measure.
Which year are you talking about?
This year.
Up until.
Because I think they finally nailed the fact, like, hey, we need to get guys that actually get open for this player. Now let's see if they can pass protect him. So yes, as you said, clearly worth it. I'm sorry, it's a complicated relationship between myself and the Carolina Panthers.
Let's swaddle him like a little baby.
Oh, terrible. Let's get another head.
He is worth it. I'm not saying he's not worth it, but you have to recognize that he's been coddled.
Liz, I feel like things got a little contentious between us there, so let's go with another.
Wait, hold on. You should ask Calvin Benjamin whether he thinks Cam Newton is worth it or not.
Is Calvin Benjamin going to even be on a team? He'll have plenty of free time for you to ask. Anyways, easy one here, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, he's clearly...
No, walk it over. Walk it over. Yeah. To the left, to the left.
So back to your organic tanking point.
What's that guy's name?
Armando Salguero. Yeah. I still don't know what organic tanking means.
I do. I read into it.
No, I mean, I read it, but I'm still
we should clarify for everyone.
Sure,
so
go ahead.
Organic tanking is like, oh man, we're losing. We should just let that happen.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, we're losing, let's dig our heels in and muster it up and try to make a comeback. No, we're just gonna let this like sort of play itself out.
So like they're not telling the offensive line like, hey, just don't block on a couple plays, but like, hey, if you miss a couple blocks, it's all good, dude. We're all right with losing. I actually think this is the best thing Miami could do. Like the discussion earlier about like having Derek Carr in there. That is the classic like Miami thing to do. Like, oh, let's go get this very average quarterback, pay for him, and like this is our biggest need. It'll make us better. Back when they needed a receiver, like, oh, the best receiver available is Mike Wallace. Pay him a ton of money. We need some help in the front seven. Pay Ndamukong Suh a lot of money. That's the way. And now it's gotten their roster in this miserable 6-10, 8-8 hole they can't get out of. I think by tanking, I mean, it's going to suck for the players that are there, but it has worked for the Browns, and I think it's the best thing for them to do.
I think it's the best thing for them to do, but I think it's wildly selfish to make players not try to earn money for their families.
Very true.
And I don't know how you're going to get players like Frank Gore to go along with it. Like, it just seems ridiculous to me, and it also, I feel bad for every rookie that's like drafted there, because they're not going to be allowed to develop then.
We should have, I know you and I talked about having our own side podcast and what we would talk about. I think one thing that we could really discuss is like the inner conflict that you have as a football analyst between like smart management decision, but I actually kind of want to care about these players and like everybody should get their money. The running backs don't matter discussion. Like, do I think running backs like don't really move the needle all that much for teams? Yeah, but do I want Le'Veon Bell to go out there and make every damn penny he can? Yeah, and it's tough to juggle those two. But this is not the existential crisis.
This is about quarterbacks. I don't even know who they're going to end up with under center.
Probably like a middling free agent.
Like Case Keenum?
Like a Case Keenum, a day 2 draft pick, and one of the guys like Jake Rudock or
oh, right.
Luke
You've said
Falk.
This on the podcast before. Right.
Yahoo Sports Fantasy Podcast. Check it out. All right, next one.
How are they also going to get Brian Flores to just like organically tank? It
they
doesn't
have to
make
guarantee
any
him
sense.
security. They have to guarantee him security. All right, speaking of security.
Sorry.
I'm sure Ciara feels very okay, so to me, Russell Wilson is very clearly worth it. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's currently entrapped by a bad coaching staff who is backwards thinking, but number 2 in touchdown rate over the last 2 years, behind only QB God himself, Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I think he succeeds despite what they make him do, and I think he elevates players around him. Clearly
I 100% agree.
Cool.
Yep. I also think that
I'm gonna put Russell Wilson right next to Andrew Luck, just for Seahawks Twitter. Oh. That's for you guys.
I also.
And baby Zach.
Oh, baby Zach. I talked about coddling earlier, and swaddling and coddling. All right, who is it?
We've got Carson Wentz, as promised, Craig
Eagles
Moss
fans.
or whatever. Carson Wentz, to me, think about, this is the funny part about the NFL and just how dumb this sport is that we follow. Like, right now people are like, Carson Wentz, is he a bad teammate? And there are some people they should keep Nick Foles. You know, some goofballs out there like that. But
I got that in my timeline, yeah.
This time last year, we would have all universally agreed that Carson Wentz is
one
of the most valuable assets in the NFL.
Well, because he was like an MVP candidate up until week 14 where he tore his ACL. Ironically, week 14 is when he had the stress fracture or whatever it is in his back. So he's only gotten through week 14 2 years in a row, although obviously this year he didn't.
Missed a little bit to start the year.
Yeah.
To me, clearly worth it. The only thing that we have to ask, of course, is injury concerns. But to me, I think still clearly worth it.
Sure.
Do you think Carson Wentz is handsome?
No.
Me neither. All right.
I'm not putting him under worth it, by the way.
You're not?
No, I'm putting him on the bubble.
You're putting him on the bubble?
Yeah. Yeah.
Carson Wentz on the bubble.
I mean, Carson Wentz, let's talk about, like, pushing the ball deep, right? Like, he has a nice safety valve in Zach Ertz. Tell me about Alshon Jeffrey's numbers before and after Nick Foles.
I get it. There's a difference.
Right? So is he pushing the ball deep? How many money throws is he making? How many money throws is he attempting?
See, I think back in 2017, he made plenty of deep throws, made plenty of money
I'm talking about this year.
I get it, but I'm not going to get trapped.
You're going to talk about the O-line and, like, Jason Peters' pectoral muscles and all of that nonsense? Like,
I'm just not going to get trapped in a one-year sample size where he was still very, very good. I mean, the Eagles' offense was still fine with him under center.
But if we're going to pay him $25 million, I need better than fine. Is he elevating all of the pieces around him? And you just said he wasn't.
I do think he was elevating the pieces around him in his best MVP season. I mean, clearly. To me.
I don't know. I don't think Alshon Jeffrey's numbers. I have to do them. I have to like look back.
No, I know they're better, but Alshon's like fine. He's a good receiver, but
he's a good receiver. I mean, save the divisional round of the championships this year. He was what got them to the postseason. Over 300 yards in 3 games.
He's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player.
16 of 18. He converted 16 of 18 looks in the last 3 games of the regular season for over 300 yards because Nick Foles wasn't afraid to throw it to him. And I know he didn't catch the ball against the Saints, and like now that's the last thing we remember. But like, come on.
Check out the Liz I'm Triggered sticker that we've got there on the chat. Yeah, Kreikmoss, I can't believe you've been here the whole time, bro. Go
You're
outside.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
All right, everybody else thinks Wentz is great for Philly. I'm going to keep him on the bubble because I think we're falling into a little bit of this, like, he's from North Dakota and, like, he's a good guy. And there's some narrative stuff that we want to believe because we made some choices about Nick Foles. But if you want to pay him that money, you pay him the money.
I'm paying him the damn money. All right.
I'm not afraid to take a stand here.
All right, let's go for another easy one. Are you gonna be okay to look at this?
I'm excited.
Are you gonna be okay to
look
at
this?
Oh,
no, he's my boyfriend.
What are we doing? I'm gonna let you do this.
Hi.
Definitely Ravi, clip this immediately.
I have a massive crush on this mouth-breathing idiot. Oh my God, he's so cute. Yeah, he's not worth the money, but.
I'm not touching him after that. You can hang him on the board.
Like, can I just stand up right here? I don't know where my mic is. Can I just do this? Why are you so tilted?
Guys, I don't know.
Listen, Craig Moss, can you make Matt a triggered sticker? Because that's what's going on right now.
I don't get it with Eli. He's not that handsome.
He's so cute. I told you that story.
I've told you. We're not going to tell that story on Twitch.
I don't think he's worth it, right?
No.
There's probably some dead arm issues.
I mean, I don't know. After you gave me all those Dave Gettleman, Carolina Panthers talking points, I thought you might stick up for your boy Eli here.
No, I mean, I can be objective about his talent and separate that out from his obvious, amazingly hot looks. LEWKS. He's got some dead arm issues. He is wincing every time he takes a sack. He inspires many a meme. He's not worth the money.
Hey, have him retire, and then he can, just come home and
Listen,
take care
he is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Ugh, all right, that's another Twitch discussion.
But, oh, I love you, Eli. You can stay right there. So cute.
Am I interrupting?
Blake, stop moving.
All right. Another easy one. Aaron Rodgers worth it.
Oh, just go put him over there, gosh.
All right. The most talented thrower of the football we've ever seen.
Until Pat Mahomes.
Well, maybe we'll see him soon.
I'm just saying that for clicks.
All right. Josh Rosen. So Josh Rosen, to me, I'm going to put him on the bubble.
You just said, Matt, just breathe.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. I like Mr. Lance's suggestion that Elway's working on a trade for Eli right now. Just get all the old bad quarterbacks. I knew Blake would fall. Blake, you can't even do this right.
Blake doesn't even deserve to be on the board.
Here, we're putting him all the way down there so maybe he'll balance. Damn cardboard. Anyways, Josh Rosen, I'm going to put on the bubble. Obviously had a horrific rookie season.
Oh, the guy who's going to take Eli Manning's job?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's a bubble guy. We need to see more of him. I mean, yeah, put him by his identical twin, Jared Goff. They're the same person to me.
There's some of this going on.
Yeah. Coming off a horrific rookie season statistically, needs a lot of help around him. We'll see.
I really like him though. Is that like I definitely like I appreciate him. He's a good social media follow. He was just in a car accident and he is fine. So I really like him, and it's hard for me, I have to admit, to like. I met him at the like rookie event, and I've met him all of them, but he's really cool.
Cool, nice name drop. All right, cool. There we go.
All right.
I
know that Eli got carried by 2 unbelievable defenses to the Super Bowl, but also he's still going to be in the Hall of Fame.
So
because he beat the Patriots.
Next one here.
And he's
another guy, much like Blake Bortles, who got a little banged by the fact he's on cardboard. Josh Allen, most pixelated headshot we have. Josh Allen's rookie year to me is like a total Rorschach test. Because,
I have no idea.
Because I mean, right? Because
I'm just gonna be honest.
If you didn't like Josh Allen coming into the NFL, I mean, I think you saw enough to be like, oh, he threw more interceptions and touchdowns. He had a low completion percentage. Yikes. I'm gonna go on the bubble though, because I do think we saw enough intensity, enough playmaking ability.
Also, the thing that I think Josh Allen did was, coming in, everyone's like, oh, he's going to be a bust. He's bust written all over him. He couldn't hit he's Christian Hackenberg, the second coming, blah, blah, blah.
And we certainly saw moments where the people who did want to say hard pass on him, they would point to those moments.
It's like such sheep thinking to be like, here are the bullet points as to why he won't be good. And then I'm not saying he's going to be an elite quarterback, but I do think what he was able to do was stay focused, not get flustered all the time, and also find different ways of winning. He was improvisational, and he is a baby.
Plays with his hair on fire. I mean, look at him. He's got a baby face.
And he's willing to like just sort of get out there and do it and learn. And so I'm optimistic about those things.
You can see why Buffalo is gonna love him and all that. No, so I think
he's bringing the popcorn.
Again,
sorry, Tio.
The Rorschach test thing. Like, if you're gonna if you already have such a strong opinion to put him here or put him here, I think you are drinking confirmation bias, essentially. Sure. All right. Someone says he's still trashed. Mean. All right, next one, another baby face. Matthew Stafford. Now, Matthew Stafford, to me, I don't know where you're going to stand on him, but he's another one that, along with Jared Goff, is kind of the epitome of this discussion to me, because I think Matthew Stafford, we can all agree, and Lions fans are already mad about me. I've seen the mentions. So spoiler alert, I'm going to put him in not worth it. But the reason why is because, look, we all know Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback, objectively. You can't really deny that. He's a good starting quarterback. But has he done much to elevate the team around him? No, I don't think so. The fact they have to pay him now as like the 3rd or 4th highest paid quarterback in average per year salary is a huge damper on their roster.
And that is what we keep coming back to, right? Like, does he elevate the pieces around him? There's enough of a sample size with a lot of these guys on the ends and not so much in the middle that you can see that when he's had talent that was above average or below average, there was an opportunity for moving the offense forward and elevating. So I would say, based on that, which that's a really good like axiom to come back to, I'm going to say that he is also not worth it.
And Lions fans, I see that someone already says worth it. And people,
but how much would you pay Matt Stafford? Because like you're not going to.
I'd give him
the 19, the 18.
Yeah. Blake Bortles making $17.5 million a year. Like, I'd give him that contract.
Right. I give him just under 20.
Yeah. Brady's making 20.8. So, yeah. But if you ever think there's not enough Lions fans out there, tweet or write negatively about Matthew Stafford, and I promise they'll find you. They'll find you. All right. Moving on. We talked a lot of Flacco at the beginning, and let's discuss it now. He is not worth it.
Not worth it.
No. But they're paying him.
Hey, did you know that Joe Flacco was 6'6"?
John Elway knows.
Did you know that he went to Delaware, University of Delaware? Do you
Transferred
know he's a
from
Blue Hen?
Pitt.
Yeah, wow.
Is he elite though? You know, I mean, I can already hear Brett saying it from the other building. Look, I mean, they're paying him a lot of money. I think they'll probably pay him for 8 starts this year, and they'll still draft a rookie. Definitely not worth it.
Nope.
All right. Oh, I think I know this is going to be fun. But Mitchell Trubisky.
Ugh.
I know there are already people, and I have a feeling Liz might be among them, ready to throw him into the not worth it camp. I am certainly not bullish enough to throw him in worth it, but
you're going to leave him on the bubble.
I'm going to leave him on the bubble.
He improved over the time that Nagy was able to gadget up the offense to make him look good. But when did he ever plant his feet and throw accurately, other than in the wild card game, which is when I think the last quarter of that game we saw him grow up, which is why I am also surprised going to put him on the bubble.
Oh, Liz, what a moment where we come together and put Trubisky on the bubble.
It was that last quarter, man.
Wow.
That is what I've last seen of him. Who says he's elite? Craig Moss, get out. Oh, are you making a Flacco joke? Oh, okay.
Calm down. I think that we see it's all about how you leave it, folks. Leave a person with a good last impression, and that's all that matters.
That game was good. He was the best I'd ever seen.
I like that we're speeding through these.
I think part of the reason also that people get so angry, or Chicago fans get so angry about Mitch Trubisky, is because the franchise traded up to get him.
Yeah, they need him to be good.
So, like, they need him to be easy in this pile, and he's not been, except for the last quarter of football that he played.
I've given him another year because they have a great supporting cast.
Prediction.
Sure.
Robert Woods is the key to Trubisky's success.
Well, he plays in L.A.
I'm sorry. Alan Hearns.
Allen Robinson?
Allen Robinson.
Third time's a charm.
Oh, man.
It's February. Come on.
Woo! Robert
But he's
Woods
the free agent signing that made a big difference for Jared Goff.
Allen Robinson and Robert Woods, to me, are they're similar bros, man. Like, you don't think so? Like, they're similar players?
I mean, I think that they could be used similarly. Big slot
who
guys,
could be used on the outside.
I think that's a fair comparison.
So I feel like Robert Woods also down the stretch a little bit into the postseason came on, and that was a guy who struggled, whether it was coming off of the ACL tear or for a bunch of other reasons struggled. But once he started to find his rhythm, Trubisky fell in line. And so I think that Allen Robinson, I almost said Robert Woods again, Allen Robinson is going to be a fine fantasy value in 2019, and I'm going to try to target him. I think he's going to be cheap.
Y'all know how I feel.
You love the dude, right?
It's my first original son.
Oh, okay.
You know, after Charlie. Anyways, next one, Sam Darnold. To me, the rookie quarterback I am the second most optimistic about is Sam Darnold. I think he can make all the throws. I think he showed with a great September, honestly. Had a solid passer rating, completed 64% of his passes.
A great September? He had a great week
I'm sorry, great December.
Yeah.
He started off well, had a bad stretch, was injured, finished well. I think if they can surround him with the right pieces, we see a big second-year leap, but I do think he's the type of guy that can elevate players around him. I think he's on the bubble. I'm not ready to go worth it yet, but I do think he's someone I'm really optimistic about.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about him. I'm not optimistic about the coaching culture that's being created. But I do think that could negatively impact Darnold. So that I'm scared that he is going to not be fully developed, that the talent is maybe going to be seen, but just wasted because
remember,
the guys in charge can't get out of their own way.
We're drafting him, Liz, we own one of the 32 teams in this scenario, and we are bringing him onto our team, which
well, then I'm firing
culture.
Adam Gase and Greg Williams
Obviously.
and all their dang relatives.
Yeah.
It is so crazy. It's like an incestuous thing. The father-in-law.
Nepotism runs deep in the NFL.
Whew, the son. They all hate each other. Bountygate, the whole thing. It is some like Southern Gothic style drama.
Weird. Nepotism runs deep in the NFL and in sports media. All right, anyways.
Can I also say something about both
So we're
Darnold,
on the bubble, though, him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put him right. I think this is a perfect little area here.
Look at Lamar not even hanging
Darnold and Allen, I think, are both interesting in one particular way because there are a lot of sports commentators that said after Allen had his elbow, right, that was hurt, shut him down. Like, just shut him down.
Yeah.
Don't let him get all messed up in the head. He's not going to be able to perform. Just, like, let him sit on the bench and learn and not get out there when, in fact, he came and played with his hair on fire, and that
And
was
gave
when
him a
he
jolt.
actually got those reps and he wasn't afraid because I think he thought, same thing with Darnold, right? Like he was coming back. Everyone's like, oh God, he's not going to be any good because he just got hurt. And can you imagine, like psychologically, where he's at? Came back and looked so much better than when he started the season. So I would always say, I want to see them take those reps, throw them into the fire. All of this talk about, if you throw someone into the fire and they're not afraid that they're going to never play again, like there's some security and they know that they're out there to gain experience rather than W's, it is so beneficial to these players. I'm sorry I'm passionate.
No,
It's February.
That's good analysis to me. I mean,
All right, go. Give me another one. Let's go.
All right, cool. All right, this one I think, fun one, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh.
Now, people are upset at me about this, especially the ones who are mad at me about this. They're saying, how can you have Jimmy Garoppolo as worth it? And I clearly do.
Oh, you're putting him over here.
Oh,
There's,
hell
yeah.
All right, we agree. Look, Jimmy Garoppolo, I think people forget how much of an elevator he was at the end of 2017.
I like that.
5-0. I mean, yeah, he made everybody around him better. I mean, Marquise Goodwin was a guy we were talking about, like, look at the chemistry between these two. Nobody ever talking about Marquise
they're like
Goodwin.
Track star Marquise Goodwin.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, and yes, the most attractive quarterback in the NFL.
It doesn't hurt.
Next Twitch
to Eli Manning.
stream we next Twitch stream we need to rank these guys by handsomeness. but we'll do
Also,
that another
Jimmy
time.
Garoppolo from Rolling Meadows, Illinois. I'm from Mount Prospect, Illinois. My rival high school was the Rolling Meadows Mustangs, and that is where Jimmy Garoppolo played. We all know he went to college at EIU, Tony Romo University. But did you know where he went to high school? I did.
No, I did not.
So.
But I think, and also, I know a couple people have tweeted. This is on my radar because a couple people have tweeted this at me. But people are like, "Hey, Kyle Shanahan made Nick Mullins play well this year," and I'm like, "There is a look. There's a difference. That is an intellectually disingenuous."
Actually, all the more. To that point, fine. He made Nick Mullins play well. Imagine
What
then
he
what
can
he could do with
do.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
We already
and
saw 5-0.
a healthy Jerick McKinnon in the backfield.
George Kittle ascended to
Give him some
peak
receivers.
status.
And wait, what was the accent we keep coming back to? Does this player make everyone around him better? The answer, as we saw down the stretch, yes.
Right. I love it.
Pierre Garcon. Got my kid down.
Right here. Up top, up top, up top, up top.
He's very tall.
All right. Oh, God.
Oh, are we going to end on this one?
No, I'm going to save that one for last. We got a few more quarterbacks here. Matt Ryan. I think we keep this one short and say he is worth it. Statistically, one of the best quarterbacks over the last 3
Second
seasons.
most productive fantasy quarterback in 2018. I don't know how, but fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Does he make everyone better around him, though?
I think he does make players around him better, and I also think it's a little bit undersold how difficult the last 2 years have been for him. He was clearly working with the downgrade in offensive coordinator Sark. I mean, Sark ain't it, yo. And
now he's got Cotter back again.
The offensive line was really bad this year. I think
a lot of his production, though, I do think came out of the fact that the defense was so bad, so he had to
from a
throw
raw
ton,
stats perspective, but he was still very, very efficient from a adjusted yards per attempt perspective. But I won't bore you with all these numbers.
We think he's worth it.
Yeah. All right. This one, Pat Mahomes.
Oh.
Come on. Like, can we put him all the way at the top?
Put him next to Aaron Rodgers. Oh. Our producer's worried about the wall being knocked down because Harmon just palmed it.
All right.
I keep peeking.
Deshaun Watson.
Oh, okay.
I think Deshaun Watson
think he's
is
worth it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is definitely a guy who has made players around him better. No question about it. Not to mention, I think he's third in sacks over the last 2 years, and he's played 22 games.
Do you know who that's like?
Yeah. Oh, very, very similar. Very similar. Yeah. Makes players around him better. Exceeds despite a coaching staff that I'm kind of skeptical about.
On my radar.
Yeah, very efficient. Super. I mean, yeah, I love
also,
Watson.
Elevates the ethos of what's going on in Houston. Is a good human being. Sells tickets. There's no reason not to put him in this column.
Totally. Completely worth it. All right. We're down to the home stretch here.
Last 4, is it?
5.
Okay,
and number
final
5 is Drew Brees. Worth it.
Fine.
Do you want to talk? Look, because we could talk about the decline, because the
decline
numbers,
is real.
The numbers are not good. Not only, he wasn't himself in the postseason.
Nope.
I think he averaged 213, 214 yards per game over the last 4 weeks of the regular season, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
So great. Thank you for the stats. Here's where I think he ends up being worth it. That doesn't. show up in the stat sheets. And I'm going to name drop, so get ready to at me.
I'll be here to pick it up.
I was talking about Peyton Manning with Amy Trask, and I was like, oh, gosh.
Hi.
Yeah. I was like, gosh, like, he's just not good, and he's getting all this money. And she was like, yeah, but what about what he's doing at the line of scrimmage before the whistle, right? Like, what about the progressions that he gets through? What about the audibles that he's making? Drew Brees can do all of that, and so that makes him incredibly worth it. Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
We're creeping a little here with Trubisky to Watson. I want to distinguish
you stay in your lane, Mitch.
All right. Now this one, I don't know if this is going to count as a hot take for you, but the only rookie quarterback that I took off the bubble was Baker Mayfield, and I think he is incredibly, incredibly worth it.
Yeah, he's worth it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Some people, were a little skeptical about it. I don't want to cover you up, Aaron Rodgers. But Baker Mayfield, to me, clearly worth it. I don't think people understand. I think he's...
Why are people saying he's not worth it?
He's only been one season, not even a full season. Come on. What would you have said about Dak Prescott after his rookie year?
In an absolutely dead franchise. He brought a glimmer of hope to Cuyahoga County or Cuyahoga County, whatever it's called. Absolutely. I mean, he's making Hollywood Higgins look good. And
hey, my boy Higgins. This is the year. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Baker Mayfield did everything that you want a franchise, $25 million, $30 million quarterback to do.
And respectful in the wake of Tyrod Taylor's being pulled/injured.
Indeed. So, yeah, Baker Mayfield. By the way, 6th in deep passing yards this year, despite not starting that full season.
That's incredible.
3rd to last. Try not to fall asleep for this one, but it's Marcus Mariota. Now, I had him right along there with Jameis Winston as not worth it.
But you moved him.
No, I kept him at not worth it.
Yeah, you moved him. Oh.
No, I meant we moved Jameis together. Do you want to convince me off Mariota here?
No, I'm paying him under 20. I'm paying him maybe 16 to 17.
Sorry, Marcus.
He's had too many opportunities, and as much as I like him as a person, he can't stay healthy. He can't adapt. His mechanics are still a disaster.
Hurt all the time.
Yeah.
Multiple different ways. And I think, honestly, last year showed that when the situations fell down around him, he fell down with them. And I think, in general, I really do think this is a conspiracy theory, but I think that Matt LaFleur looked at what this quarterback could do and said, I'm going to go back prehistoric offense. Derrick Henry, the feature.
And it worked.
Yeah.
That was the point you made.
Yeah. There we are. All right, number 2. Two more left.
Craig Moss makes an excellent point. Hold on. Craig Moss's excellent point about Baker Mayfield pulling Cleveland together like Jimmy G pulled San Fran together. Let's just hope Baker Mayfield doesn't get hurt.
God, yeah, please. Okay.
Who's the backup in Cleveland?
Drew Stanton.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The guy who cheers the best on the sidelines.
Exactly. one of the best gifts out there. All right. Speaking of one of the best out there, Tom Brady. I mean, obviously.
He's not making the money, but
obviously he's not worth it. Total
Father
snooze,
Time
snooze
loses
bag.
no battles.
Yeah, no,
Go put him over there.
Yeah, he's obviously worth it. But as you mentioned, he's a guy who has never been pushing this $30 million per year range because he consistently takes team-friendly deals. One of the untold stories of the Patriots dynasty is that he's consistently not been among the top 5 paid quarterbacks.
I mean, Danny Amendola told that story.
No, but nobody listens to Danny Amendola.
That's true.
All right, we've got one more left, and this one I do think is going to be a little controversial. And another one that I ran the gamut on. So you have the complete ability to convince me. I'm going to let you lead this off. Where are you putting Kirk Cousins, who was just paid this big fat contract last year?
Boom.
You're putting him worth it? That's where I had him too.
Yes,
that's where I had
100%.
him too. And I did not feel, look, you covered up Cam Newton.
I'm so sorry. I just tried to find a place that the camera could see him easily.
I want to put him down there so that when we tweet out the picture of this, maybe
people
I won't
don't get angry
again.
Yeah, this is a crazy one to me. I mean, you did not watch any Redskins tape and then assume that Kirk Cousins wasn't week after week putting the offense on his back with like 1.5 healthy linemen. Remember the game that Kirk Cousins played against Russell Wilson last year, the Seahawks-Redskins game, and Kirk Cousins played with his hair on fire. Yes, he gets flustered. Yes, he can sort of be a tin man. All of those things are true, but none of these guys are perfect. His ability to consistently drive forward and stay focused is awesome. And when you look at the Vikings, I think this is more of an issue with Zimmer than with Kirk Cousins. I'm going to say this again, and Matt's probably tired of hearing it. Week 4, the Rams-Vikings game, John DeFilippo called himself a hell of a game. Cousins was on fire. It was a ping-pong match of offenses. I was there live in the stadium, saw the whole thing. And when the losses started to stack up, Zimmer got scared, wanted to turn to the run. You can see that in after the Seattle game at the end of the season when Filippo got flipped and Dalvin Cook's numbers went through the roof. Adam Thielen started to plummet. So did Kirk Cousins. He and Thielen are yelling. That has nothing to do with Kirk Cousins' talent or ability. That has everything to do with the culture and the play calling.
I think Kirk Cousins has a good arm. I mean, statistically, even before coming to the Vikings, he was one of the best deep passers in the NFL. I think that was what Minnesota hoped would be the upgrade over to Case Keenum. But look, Kirk is not a consistent, steady week-to-week quarterback.
So neither is Ben Roethlisberger.
Has peaks and valleys. I mean, I think you could make Carson Wentz can be that guy. I think you can make an argument that Deshaun Watson has at some points in his career been that guy. I mean, Cam Newton certainly has been that guy. Yeah, no, I mean, all of these guys.
But when their highs are high, ooh,
yeah, all of these guys give you a ceiling that I think these players do not. I think that. Yeah, and I think that we hope these guys do. I think that some of them definitely could reach this range. That's why they're over here. But Kirk Cousins is a controversial one. I do think that he can help Minnesota become one of the best teams in the NFC. So no doubt about it. What are you counting here?
I'm counting because there's 32. So you would want 16 and 16, and who would be like the person in the middle? And there's 9 players here, and I was just counting through to see how many. Like because most of these guys are getting paid, are worth it money. So I was trying to look at the math of like how much are people overpaying, franchises are overpaying for the position.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to do.
I hear you. So this has been really fun. We sorted all the quarterbacks out. I think like overall takeaways is I actually feel really good about the quarterback position in the NFL.
What do you want us to look at?
I'm gonna get to it.
The producer's getting crazy.
It's getting very feisty here as I'm really nailing this send-off here. Anyways, I think that...
Where were you?
Where was I? So I feel really good about the quarterback position in the NFL. Like, as you mentioned, pretty good stock of guys that are clearly worth it.
So 14 here, we'd probably need 2 at least of those guys to make it to the worth it column and prove their mettle. And then it would look like it's evenly distributed.
And we have let's say hypothetically that 4 of these guys make it. I mean, that's a good crop of quarterbacks. I think we're actually in a pretty good state for the quarterback position in the NFL. Also, another takeaway, we have pretty similar tastes. Like
we generally do.
Yeah.
Not in anything else, but in football we do.
Not in Eli Manning attractiveness, but I mean,
I
think the only
from Parks and Rec.
Oh, enough. How dare you? But I think the only ones that we changed opinions on. You moved me on Dak Prescott. You moved me on Jameis Winston. And other than that, I think we saw things pretty similarly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that you echoed my sentiments about Kirk Cousins.
I was actually pretty convinced you were going to go not worth it, but.
Oh, really? And I have to say that it was you who kind of first hinted at me that Marcus Mariota might not be that great, so I have to go with thank you for that as well.
So just a couple things from the chat so Ravi doesn't punch me in the head. And looking at some of these, one, maybe next week we'll do this with AAF quarterbacks.
Oh, the fleet?
Yeah, Mike Bercovici, Christian Hackenberg.
Sure.
You never know. Exciting. And of course, Colin Kaepernick was mentioned on here. I have no idea. You can't justifiably put him in. It's been years since we've seen him play. Is that what you wanted me to answer?
That's what they were asking.
Well, now we answered the question. I don't know. Last we saw Kaepernick, he would have been a not worth it.
It doesn't matter because he's gotten his money.
Good for him.
Doesn't matter. He got paid.
I love it. Exactly.
Yep.
Which is that's what we all want. We all want people to get paid, and I hope he gets a backup quarterback job in the NFL because.
Oh, in the NFL, not just the AFL.
No, because he's not making. They pay those players like $70,000 a year.
I know, but wasn't there a report about Colin Kaepernick?
Fake news.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I think while we feel pretty good about the state of the quarterback position in the NFL in terms of starters, Where we need a lot of help is the backup quarterback. So Colin Kaepernick can help us there. And, oh, by the way, the AAF, if it does turn into a legit developmental league, that's where we hope we see guys like Luis Perez or Garrett Gilbert, these guys who've looked good at the AAF level, turn into backup quarterbacks in the NFL. And, yeah, definitely tune in next time for either our quarterback handsomeness rankings or our vegetable rankings.
Cauliflower, Brussels sprouts.
Worth it, my people. All right,
asparagus.
Well, this has been really fun. Yeah, good takes. All right, so this has been really fun. If you want to read more about it, you can go check out the article, yahoosports.com. Liz, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a real pleasure.
Thank you, my fine sir.
And for you all, follow Liz on Twitter at LizLoza_FF. Follow me at MattHarmon_BYB. And tweet us what you think about this, what you guys' takes are. And obviously, you agree with everything. We'll see you guys around.